All right. Hey, guys. You know how I often say it's about parameters over predictions? Well, today was a great day to know where your parameters are because if you're not very familiar with Elliott wave theory, one of the defining features of Elliott wave theory, once you know what you're looking at, once you understand how to read an Elliott wave chart, you're going to know where you're wrong. Okay. So it's not about getting all into, well, I got to be right and I want to be right. It's about using and creating proper parameters because you want to know when you're wrong. I know it's against human nature to admit when you're wrong. You don't even want to be wrong. You don't want to think about being wrong. Elliott wave theory, when done properly, is going to let you know where the parameters are that you're wrong. Today was a great day to know your parameters. All right, cool. Let's dive into the crude oil chart. We're going to go crude oil, gold, silver, the dollar, and I don't know. We'll see what else we can get into, but I'm just going to try to give you the parameters and kind of show you where we're at from a top level on down. All right, we're going to start with the crude oil chart. Here we go. Now, this is a 4-hour chart. You can see, look at this massive candle. We came up, we could not make a new high. I had this sell box over here, came all the way down. Speaking of parameters, the 69.19 has been a parameter of mine since Thursday, December 5th, very early in the morning. And that level, you could say, acted as resistance. Then it got above it and it back tested. That's one of the beautiful things about knowing your levels. Back tested, it came all the way up, came all the way back down, tagged it almost to the penny, went all the way up, got into this ratio box, tagged it. I put this sell box up here indicating this is where you can scalp short. Anytime it comes back up, sell it again. Of course, in Armando's room, we were primarily day trader scalpers. So when you see a sell box on my chart, I'm not saying refinance a house and go short hardcore. I'm saying look for sells in this box. And as you can see, price came up a couple of times into that box and certainly got rejected enough for multiple short scalps. Came all the way back down. Here's what's fascinating to me. Price has memory. Came right back down to that key parameter, right? This was on Tuesday, December 17th. Came right back to the same key parameter that we had identified over here on December 5th. Then it interacted with it again on December 12th, and then interacted with it again on December 17th. And I think we're going to come back down and interact with it again, except this time I think we're going to break through it and keep going lower. So why do I say that? Well, few reasons. Um, Mostly because it didn't make a new high. And also, if you just really look at this whole region, we're just in a chop fest. And what's happening is the range is contracting, meaning we're getting lower highs, right? Here's a lower high, lower than this high, another lower high, lower high, lower high. And then over here, you had a higher low, higher low. Now here it's kind of, teetering, made a lower low here, right? But then it made another higher low while this made a lower high while this made a higher low. So that's contracting. The range is contracting. And it released, at least this, again, it released to the downside, at least for now. So if you're looking for something a little more actionable, well, first of all, before I get into that, as price was coming up and I started going short, I've learned from Armando, the professor trades, to stay small. Stay small. No need to be as big as I always thought I needed to be. I trade much smaller since joining Armando's club, and it's working out beautifully. You get more flexibility in your trades. Anyway, inside of the room, two different members actually asked me over yesterday and today if I was still short, and the answer was yes. Even though my original stop was 71.19, if you're inside of the Professor Trades Club, you'll be getting my updates all throughout the day, and you'll be engaging in conversation with not just me, but with other several members who are amazing at Elliott Wave. David, shout out to David R. if you're watching. He's a great Elliott Wave practitioner, member of the room, the Elliott Wave room inside the Professor Trades Club. Anyway, I was commenting that the real stop needs to be based on structure. And to me, this was the real stop, this high, which happens to be 71.44. So I actually stayed in the shorts and actually added to my position and started scalping, taking it off and leaving the core short on. Okay. And this is just an example of using parameters to come up with your stop levels based on structure. You get the parameters based on Elliott wave, the ideas that Elliott wave provides in the measurements. So being that this is 5 up in what I was counting as a C wave, I was looking for this to be 5 down and looking for a 3-wave bounce. And I still think this was a 3-wave bounce. It just came up a lot higher than I originally thought, but it didn't invalidate the downside setup because it did not make a new high. Okay, so even though this trade was very rough, and I wouldn't be mad at anybody who gave up and stopped out, I was small enough that I was able to not only just take the heat, which is in relative size to my account, is no big deal. Then I started adding shorts, and my plan was if it broke out above this level, I wouldn't expect it to just go ripping higher. It would break out and then it would come dip again. And if that had happened, I would have gotten out of my shorts on the dip. So that's another strategy, sort of tactic that I've learned. And when you're small enough, you can do this. If it breaks your level, don't just, I do this quite often. It breaks my level. I don't immediately stop out. I might peel off some of the some of my shorts just to alleviate the immediate pain and reduce risk. But then when it comes back in my favor, start peeling off the rest of the shorts. Because had it broke this level, that was a signal to me that it's very likely going to see up in this box over here, 72.41. But it didn't break the level and it kept coming down. So there you go. So I actually am net positive here and still in a short trade in crude oil. And the idea would be now I have to adjust these levels. Okay. Let me stop right here and just remind you guys, if you're watching and you're new and you're getting some value out of these levels, go ahead and smash the thumbs up, please. It helps the algorithm. It encourages me to keep doing these videos. Also, if you want to keep getting these updates, I do roughly 2 videos a week, sometimes more. Go ahead and hit the subscription button and the notification bell so you'll know when I do a video. Who is the Professor Trades? It's Armando. The club is called the Professor Trade. The link is in this video description here. So you can come check out the club. It's a no-brainer at less than $1 a day. You're getting massive value from Armando regarding day trade and scalping. And then you're getting the Elliott Wave stuff for free for now. So you're getting a whole bunch of different charts updated throughout the day. And a few members are highly skilled Elliott Wave practitioner. David R. Keep posting your charts, bro. Thank you. And that's the deal. So let's jump back to the chart. So now I'm going to adjust. You're going to watch me adjust this chart. And what I'm doing is wherever this high was, you got to bring that level up to there. Where did that top? It topped out at 71.38. I'm kind of a stickler for being exact on these levels, 71.38. And then what that means to me is that if this is going to keep coming, and it's not going to come down in a straight line, but the ideal target, if this is now going to play out as I've been looking for ever since this bounce started, which is only 24 hours ago, more than 24 hours ago now. But ever since this bounce started, I'm looking for the reversal, and it tested my patience. It came all the way up, but it did not make a new high. So now the idea is this is a 1-2 to the downside. And so the ultimate target is 66.94 based on the 200 fib. So off the top of my head, I'm not sure what my basis is, but the stop is going to be the same. And the stop is 71.44. Now, had you been in the club, you would have known what my thoughts were on this tighter stop at 71.19. And you would have also known that I did not stop out there. I stayed in my shorts. Had you been in the club, you would have known that. Let me see if I can I edit this? Because that's not, I don't really need to see that anymore. Cool. Kind of interesting. This shallow pullback came right to the 50% fib. Let me just get rid of this, trying to clean this up. You're watching me do a little Elliott wave in real time now. So now that I've moved that up, the idea is the larger structure is representing potentially something like this. Now, look, this is just a rough start to this new structure. Well, actually, it's not a new structure, but it's the current structure now. I've been looking for this structure, but I couldn't really put these fibs on there until it stopped going up. And now that it has stopped going up and finally coming down, if I want to make you crazy, I could zoom in. This is a 13-minute chart. I could really get in the weeds, but I'm not. I'm going to leave it at the 13-minute chart. Oil is so volatile. There's really not much reason to getting much more nano than that for the purposes of this video. So, the next area that you could expect to see some kind of resistance, it's not unusual at all to see the 100 fib produce a little bounce. And given the fact that price has already bounced at this level, and another thing I like to do is I like to drag over levels just to see what happened when price interacted with this level in the past. And wouldn't you know, that price, is it a coincidence that price has interacted with this general level a lot in the past? And I love this. Ever since I started dragging levels over, all it does is give me greater confidence in my parameters that I'm presenting to you, because price has memory. And even though the context of this price action is now different than it was way over there to the left, it is still relevant. So I find it amazing that this is a level that price has interacted with, what, a dozen times? I just showed you. So now there's a 100 fib right at that level. There was a 50% fib on this pullback. But the point is, forget Elliott wave for a second. Price likes to interact with this level. So what I would expect is price to come down, not in a straight line, but if it makes it down to this level, 69.12-ish, expect it to bounce bounce somewhat. But the real target is down here, which I also find amazing that the 1618 comes in right at whatever this 67.87 level is, which is something from the past. Yeah, this is just a level again. Another, look how many times price has interacted with this level. Okay, so that's why I kept dragging it over. And look how many times, not exactly to that level, but it's a zone. It's a zone. But now there's a 1618 at that zone and that level combined. So I'm really liking that. Let me get rid of that 1382 fib just for now. So this is kind of the rough game plan. And, a parameter is the last high. That's a significant parameter. The next one is 60. If you're looking for a target, 69.12. I mean, if you're already short, I wouldn't do anything. If you're not short yet, that's up to you how you want to play it. But the first minimum target would be 69.12, which is almost $1 lower. But so here's the thing. Without getting all in the weeds, this can bounce and come up again. I mean, an obvious place to backtest would be the level that it just broke. Because guess what? This is also a level right here. Look, rejection, got a rejection. Then it crisscrossed it. But then guess what? Support. Then it failed. Then it came back up. And look, rejection, the basic idea, right? Then it came up, ran out of gas, got rejected from this level. Then it sliced right through that level. So I will not be surprised if overnight this wants to, even if it comes down more first, I will not be surprised if this comes back up and backtest. So a trade idea is to wait for this to backtest the 70.50 area and then get short from the 70.50 area. And a stop would be 71.44. But I know what you're thinking. I can't have a $1 wide stop. Okay, fair enough. But if you want to short somewhere back up into this zone, that based on structure, that should be your stop, is that last high. Just call it 71.44, although I know it was more like 71.38 or something. And then your first target would be 69.12, and the ultimate short target is 6. I almost always take gains. If I'm ever in a trade and I see the 1618, I take the gains. That's the easy part of the trade. And I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying that's the easy part of the trade. Okay, so I've given you crude oil. You got your parameters. You know what's going on. And really what guides my bearish bias is this daily chart. So I think crude's going to see the 50s. I've been saying that for a long time, but I don't dwell on it because I'm basically a day trade scalper. But I think crude's going to the 50s. So that's crude oil. Let's look at gold. And guess what? I know it looks like I'm a crazy person when I put these measurements and these ideas on these charts, but I've been telling you gold needs a wave 4, and then I didn't believe this was all of the pullback, and I thought this was a B wave. Where it got me was a massive rejection on this daily candle, but then it came back up and made a new high, but I still considered that a B wave. If you're in the club, you're in the room, I've been singing the same song for I don't know how long, and really ever since I was eyeballing this top going back into late October, and it nailed it. I nailed the top. So here we are. I think what's happening now is you're in some kind of a wave 3 of C. Okay. But ideally, this is really the box for where wave 4 should terminate. But I know if you're a day trade scalper, that doesn't help you. Here's the bloodbath. Here are the levels that it broke. Okay. But what I was really looking at and giving guidance in the room is this was your target. If this area, I mean, you can see my thinking. It's right on the chart. Scalp long from this area. If it breaks and it loses this level, this is where you sell from. So we didn't sell yet. Scalping long, come in here, flip short. I actually did flip short down here and I covered it at the 1618. So there you go. So now what I think will happen, this should bounce at some point. This should bounce at some point. One of the challenges is here. This could be a very small wave 1, 2 there. But the way I'm counting this is the 1, 2 up here. So if that's the case, this needs to bounce. And this extended as a wave 3 because it blew right past the 1618. But it did stop going down right here. So to me, this looks like and acts like a wave 3. So what I would like to see is a bounce. And because this extended as a wave 3, I'm going to go to the next fib down, which in this case is the 2.382. I think it is more likely because the wave 3 extended. If this bounces from here and gives a wave 4, in other words, it doesn't come all the way back up and get all the way back up into here. Just give a 3-wave move somewhere back up into here, and then one more shove down to complete a legit 5 waves down of the next larger degree. That's meaningful because what that'll do is give us confidence that this is wherever this bottoms soon after a bounce and another shove down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a C wave. Because really that's what I'm looking for is a 5-wave move for a C wave to finish off wave 4. And then you get a massive wave 5 and then the rally's over. So make your money in your metals while you can. At the moment, though, we're expecting lower levels to come. All right. So I'll just throw one measurement on here, even though, I'm not 100% sure that of anything ever in trading, but what I would guess is that price should stop going down. It did stop going down. So the idea would be, let's see, 25.96.7. What I'm doing, 25.96.7. I want to put on my standard fibs for a wave 4. Often adjust because it doesn't have to come up. Well, it doesn't have to do anything, but it doesn't have to come to the 50 level. But given how the wave 3 extended, this can come all the way back up into here, really. But I don't want to see it come too much higher, honestly. So if you're going to long scalp after this bloodbath, which I honestly wouldn't recommend, but do whatever you want. It's your money. It's your account. If you're going to go long from here, this is not a horrible idea to go long here because you got a tight stop. Just if it makes a new low, get out. And your targets are going to be somewhere in this blue box, 27.16.4. Let me just move this over, 27.16.4. All right, 27.16.4 it is. So looking for a bounce somewhere into this blue box to terminate, get more information. If it comes up, what I'd expect it to do is come up in 3 waves, something, like 1, 2, 3, and then terminate. So once it creates the first leg and stops going up and then starts coming down and stops going down, then I'll be able to make a projection of where the final shortable high should be. It's almost never the first move. It's almost never short the first move. Yay. No. It's usually the first move is not the real one. Then it retraces, then it does the real one, then it reverses. So look for a 3-wave move from here. Now, anything could happen. But if you're in the room, you're going to get updated. But that's just the general gist. So you want to get short from somewhere up here, and you want to target 25.62 on the February contract. All right, silver. Haven't done much work on silver, but it's going to be very similar to gold. This long trade is dead. It's wrecked. I did stop out and flip short and did catch some of the Momo to basically give me back the loss from the stop out. And this is where parameters really help. See this arrow that's been there for a minute. This box is my gauge because this already came down plenty low. If it breaks, then this count is not accurate, and that this 3-4 is probably a 1-2, or this is the 1-2. I haven't done much measuring in silver yet. I'm much more in tune with gold at the moment. But the idea is silver. Here's the one thing I can tell you with a fairly confident mindset is that silver is working on its 4th wave, and that it needs lower anyway. And at the moment, this is where wave 4 projects to. So if you're using my parameters on the daily as guide, this is where you would expect B wave to terminate. Unlike gold, it didn't give you like a fake B wave like gold did, come down and then come up again. This just gave you a giant 3-wave B wave. 1, 2, 3 came right in. This is actually a little bit shallow for a B wave, honestly, but that's fine. It counts as a B wave. This is where you would expect to see a B wave. And now we are working on finishing off, I think, this 5-wave structure. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, somewhere down into here. Because it is the length and the size it has dropped today, I think we'll get a better feel of it once I get more price action, but I think it's going to come a little lower. The 28, 27, I think that's too shallow. I think it's going to come down deeper. Okay, but we'll know, because once this gets a little more price action, I'm going to spend some more time on this, but obviously this count is busted. Good to know where you're wrong. And I knew I'd be wrong if this came down. So guess what? No big deal if I'm wrong. I'm wrong a lot. The important thing is to know where you're wrong. So this is where I said I'd be wrong. And look, it still broke and came back up. Now, this is what I was telling you earlier. Just because it breaks the key level, you don't just refinance your house and go short. Yay. No. And if you're short and you're sucking wind like I was, wait, because on the bounce is when I peeled out of the longs. On the bounce is where I peeled out of the longs. And then I still didn't like to just flip short, but I eventually did. And then I just caught the Momo and scalped some points. So that's the deal. That's silver. Similar concept here with the wreckage, because I did flip short, even though I was looking long over here, and I got wrecked, and I took a lot of heat, and it was a little bit nerve-wracking. But based on the Momo and because it had broken this key level on one of these bounces, I went short, and I actually am totally green. It's crazy. So it's good to spend the time to get to know your parameters. I mean, this gap had been on my mind the whole time. So I felt that if it broke this level, it would at least go to the gap, which is why I have this arrow there. And that's why I remind myself of this level. So when it did come down, but then as it kept going, I basically added shorts, just trading Momo. But that's because I could be on screen at the time. But where are we at now with NASDAQ? Where are we at with NASDAQ? I haven't put in the work, but it is possible, still, believe it or not, it is possible that this is a diagonal and that this terminated, and you're still going to get one more high. But I'm not giving you actionable. This is a 4-hour chart, for God's sake. So I need to spend the time to do the homework on the NASDAQ. But all I can tell you is if you had parameters, you're in good shape, because this broke. That's a key parameter, which is why the arrow was there. I wasn't expecting this to break, but this is obviously a key parameter, obviously. And it broke. And look at all those points. So, it appears to be consolidating here and it's bouncing. So, anyway, I don't want to keep talking because I'll just be talking without having done the homework. So, I need to do more homework on the NASDAQ, obviously. But all this stuff up here, it's coming off. It's coming off because that's all invalidated now. So I will be tracking this when I get the next time I have some time and coming up with new parameters. Okay. So that is, and actually I can see that this is really more like this: A, B, C. Got rejected, came down. This is a 1, 2, and then massive extension in the third wave. This is a fourth wave bounce, probably. Or this is an A wave. I like that better. I like this as an A wave. So you're going to get a bounce, whether it bounces directly now or even if it makes another nominal low. I believe it is going to bounce. This is an A wave. You're going to get a big old fat B wave. And then the real short would be over here. Okay, that's NASDAQ. I know I don't have much details for you. Dollar, look at this thing. Parameters. This is the parameter that has, see this arrow? This is the parameter right here, but this is the zone. That's why that red arrow is there. If this thing can't get above the zone, it's going to come back down and the dollar is going to get a lower low. If it comes above this yellow line, well, this is where you start sitting up in the chair, this level, which I did start each time it would come up. I said, man, this is consolidating in a range and it's either going to break out or break down, right? I've been saying that for a minute, probably a week. I've been saying that for a week. And today was the answer. Look at the dollar. So even if this comes back, here, let me show you what's really going on. What I think is going on with the dollar is you're still in a B wave. And if it comes up higher, I think it's going to come up higher now. There's a fib a little bit above us, but really, this B wave has been on my chart. I don't know when I put that B wave on there, but I think I put that B wave on there when this started really coming up like 2 weeks ago. It became a possibility. Okay. Over here, because this did not give me a very juicy completed 5 waves. I wanted to see this come lower, but it didn't. So it's possible that this is really 3 waves down like this. 1, 2, 3, which is corrective. A, B, C, something like that. And then now we're going, there's no denying we're going higher. It's obvious. We're going higher. And we broke out of a key level. So when the dollar goes up, what happens, folks? When the dollar goes up, this trade comes alive. So there you go. This is the EU. Okay, but before I move away from the dollar, the idea is it's going to keep coming up probably, which if you're into correlations, strong dollar, weak metals. So the metals can go down and finish off their wave 4 while the dollar is finishing its B wave. And then when the dollar finally starts a 5-wave structure, this is what I like about Elliott. One of the things I like about Elliott wave is we combine the structure of price along with fibs. So the idea is if the dollar tops out in this B wave up here, we're going to look for a nano 5 waves down and a 3-wave correction, because then that's going to give us some confidence that we are going to get a C wave. And this will be when metals are topping. Okay, so we're going to put these clues together for you so that you can trade metals and have good parameters. Okay, the parameter on the dollar broke at the same time the parameters on gold and silver broke. It's not a coincidence. Although I wouldn't trade the correlation, I trade each chart on its own. That's very important. Man, look at this thing reaching out. This is the US dollar. So what I would say is the 1382 is the next logical fib in yellow for a C wave if it wants to extend. So, this pair is not up to me though. It's up to the dollar. So I'm not trading that currency. You can see the ones I'm trading. They're right here. EU. G. Now I stayed in this trade. I scalped around. But I'm still short in this trade. So we'll see about it. I don't really want to show you too many other currencies because I'll show you this last one. The UJ coming back up. This is the weekly chart of the UJ. And the whole idea here is, was this the top over here, or does this need to come up? Does this need to come up more and make a new high and get a little higher into this ratio box? Is that what needs to happen on the lower time frame, or as we say in Elliott wave speak, the lower degree? This thing is really extended right to the top of whatever this box is. Okay, it came right up to the 764. All right, got some rejection in here, but man, this thing has really come up. Tag the 764. Actually, it's back up at the 764. So UJ very well might be extending up here to come up and make another high before it really craps the bed. But all of this stuff is beholden to the dollar, all of it. So I think this is the most important chart in the world of currencies, is right here. And I think the best thing to do is when things break a level like this did, it broke out. I mean, not only did it break out of this range, it made a new high over this range over here. So that tells me, I think the dollar is going up into somewhere between 111.19 and 113, somewhere up here. And I will spend the time, because all of this just happened today, but I will eventually spend the time and dial it, just like all these parameters here I've been giving you. Look at my arrows. If it doesn't go down here, I was expecting it to go higher. Well, it didn't go down, it went higher. It came down again, same parameter, same level, same idea. Either it's going to go down from here or it's going to go up from here. It went up from here. And then over here, you see these arrows. Look, it played out. It either it's going to drop, it's going to lose this zone and go down, or it's going to break out, and it broke out. So there you go. So now what I'm going to do is go back and spend the time taking about, you guys might not understand how much goes into making an LA wave chart. To do it properly, you take a whole bunch of different measurements. And that's why Elliott Wave is so effective at giving you key parameters that you can trust, as long as I've done the homework properly. So I feel good about the other instruments I presented, but the currencies, I need to spend more time on the currencies, and I need to spend more time on silver and NASDAQ. But look, all this just happened today. So by the next video you see from me, you'll get the parameters. But if you're in the Professor Trades room, you're going to get the parameters anyway, because I'll be in there. All right, guys, you know what the deal is. Thank you guys who buy me coffee. If you're finding value, there's two things you can do. One, just like the video, subscribe. That's beautiful. The other thing you can do is buy me a coffee. If you're a longtime trader and you've been following me for months and you scored today using my levels, my parameters, buy me a coffee. Why not? The link to the coffee is in the description too. It's just fun. It keeps me going. It motivates me to keep making these videos for you. All right, guys, that's the deal. Ask questions in the comment box. And if you're in the club, thanks for watching. I'll see you in there. We're all following Armando with his expert guidance. And otherwise, I just want to say thank you for watching. And I will see you in the Professor Trade Club. All right, guys. Professor Trade link is in the description of this video. If you're not a member, for less than $1 a day, come in. It's a no-brainer. I'll see you in the room. Bye-bye.